Yeah, I know
Did you
you're
know
talking.
towing is a full-time job?
No, I didn't. I didn't think towing was a full-time job.
You should try doing it full-time.
I still do 88 hours every 2 weeks.
44-hour weeks.
Yeah, I know. I'm
That's
a
a
part-time.
part-time. That's a
Yeah.
part-timer.
Yeah, I just do days. I don't do overnights anymore. It's wonderful. I don't know.
You've been like a tow truck driver in captivity.
Yeah. Yeah, captivity.
What happens if they put you back in the wild? My nose is still running. I'm in COVID hangover.
Well, you better go catch it.
Dad joke for the win. We're gonna do towing puns one day.
Towing puns?
It'll be the lamest show. It'll just
Yeah.
be me and you giving puns back and forth. So bad. Like I couldn't even take myself. What do you call a tow truck? Towing a smaller truck, a mother trucker.
There's a recent study showing that crows were hit a lot more by trucks than cars. They came to the conclusion that it's because crows can warm each other by going car, car, but they can't say truck, truck.
I got a nail in my tire coming home from the grocery store. My meat, milk, ice cream, absolutely ruined while waiting on a tow truck. Should have bought asparagus.
Hmm.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I am your host, TowManG, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the one chain wonder himself, the backpack himself, Mr. PlainGuy.
I love that you threw that in. Oh, the backpack, because I'm always getting carried, as G says. Perfect. Why are you so snazzy, G? I'm not even going to ask how you are. I just want to know why you're so snazzy. Like,
Well, it was either this or a sopping wet, I'm sexy and I tow it sweater.
fair enough. I would have just gotten topless. So I was going to pull the Bert Kreischer and just start going topless for our shows, but I feel like numbers would drop dramatically low.
The audio side would pick up for that.
Hey, whatever works. Remember,
and this is a video side episode, because we've got some videos for you at the end of this episode.
Absolutely, we are going to go over some stupid videos that we have compiled. Between that and the tow truck puns from the intro, what more could you want from a towing podcast?
Yeah.
It is a good time to mention, if you have any subjects, questions, comments, concerns, anything you want covered on the show, if you are watching, I will start over on the YouTube side. You can always drop a comment, hit the thumbs up, hit the follow, hit the bell.
Apparently, there's 40% of you watching right now by my analytics that aren't subscribed.
40% of 4 people. Let me do the math on that real quick.
1.5.
Yeah. So be sure to hit that like, be sure to hit that subscribe. You can also reach us a ton of different ways.
Yeah, there you go. There's your banner.
You can drop the comments. You can visit us the easiest way, www.towinglife.ca. It is the easiest way. You will find everything there. You can call us 249-666-2209. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. That goes directly to myself. I try and get back to anyone as quick as I can. I am not the quickest sometimes. We are busy.
We all know you're not the quickest. It's
never been a secret.
We love you and accept you for who you are, regardless of how quick you are, PlainGuy.
I don't want to get into what my favorite color of crayon is. Or you can visit us at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook. As you know, we try our best week in, week out to bring all kinds of great entertainment. And this is, we're not getting super educational on this one by any means. We're going to have a good time, see where things go. Don't forget, on our website, you will find it as well. There's links in always the videos if G is doing his job. If not, they are on the website for the merchandise. The I'm Sexy and I Tow It, very similar to the hoodie that G wears. Yeah. We have our own version of it on the Towing Life store. We have the tow truck operator hourly rate. Note, I got to change the hourly rate. We are going to take that down off the store for a little while because I realized that I spelt minimum wrong.
And what does your favorite color crayon taste like?
I wrote minimum instead of minimum. I only realized this after I ordered 2 shirts for myself, and we're looking at them closely and went, wait a second, that's not spelt right. So they are still live on the store. They might not be by the time this episode comes out, but if you ordered one of those shirts, I apologize. Please send me an email directly at thetowinglife@gmail.com and I will make good on it. There's also some great merch for the dispatchers. Dispatch, it's like towing but smarter. Clearly I could never make it as a dispatcher. I will continue just being an operator.
Huh. So we're talking about how silly and dumb we can be because we're just towers and we're just making fun of ourselves. But there's a couple of groups across the pond that are actually doing a very smart move. They're actually taking a stand for themselves in the industry they work.
Your preludes are great.
Thanks.
I will refer to this every time. Absolutely. There is a news article coming out of South Africa, which the last place I ever thought we would be covering towing news from would be South Africa. But we were looking through some stuff. I thought this was very interesting. Towing operators down tools in protest over insurance firm fees. I think we all feel their pain on this one. I stand with the towers of South Africa on this one. Some tow truck operators across South Africa are embarking on a strike over what they believe are unfair towing rates. The South African Repair and Towing Board says large insurance companies are not paying tow operators the rates they require to stay afloat as businesses. They have down tools in protest against adjusted towing rates and insurance claims processes. SA South African Repair and Towing Board spokesperson Wesley Dougal has accused some insurance firms, in particularly Outsurance. It's a great name. It's not insurance, it's Outsurance.
That's probably their slogan.
Yeah. Of abusing their market dominance and undercutting service providers. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't believe that towing problems are very similar in every country, in every city, in every town, and everything else, this is a perfect example. These are the same exact issues that we have fought in Ontario, in Canada as a whole. We go to private or government ran insurance out in the West Coast, to even the private insurance companies as you get into Ontario and other provinces. And I'm sure you guys in the States are seeing the same thing. We always talk about that. Towing, no matter where you're doing it, seems to have some of the same trends. And this just goes to prove it. I stand with the South African Towing, Repair and Towing Board.
Yeah. Like it's hard because those are some of the biggest customers, but they're also the people insuring your tow trucks, right? So it's almost like you got to walk on eggshells because what if they just don't want to renew your policy next year, right? And I know for a lot of people, it's hard to find insurance to insure these tow trucks, especially if you're a smaller fleet. If you got a fleet of more than 6 vehicles, it's a lot normally easier. You got a bigger CVOR number with more accreditation behind you that way. And I don't know. It's just, I've worked for small tow truck companies where it's very hard to get insurance and you kind of just got to bend to insurance companies. And if they don't want to pay that bill to get the car out of the insurance company for a set amount of money, well, they're just going to sit there because they're going to make you sweat because they know you can't just keep fighting it, right?
Well, absolutely. And they do the same, don't get me wrong, they do the same thing with invoices for tows, right? And we've seen it, we've seen both ends of it, which is dumb. I've seen insurance companies argue over we don't pay, we only pay this much for dollies or this much for a flatbed. And let's say it's $25 lower than what you're charging is what their maximum rate is, but they'll let the car sit while they argue that for 4 days in the impound and end up accumulating 4 times the price that they just paid it out. They eventually do pay it out, but if they start bringing these vehicles to court, and a lot of these bigger companies will do that in an attempt to starve out the company. Companies need that cash flow. Smaller companies, like you've spoken about, need that cash flow. And so if you keep tying these up over and over and over again, and then turn around and offer pennies on the dollar, some companies have to take it because they need to get things freed up. They need to get things rolling. And ultimately the insurance companies win. The only thing that scares me is they say we want to see a quality and a regulated environment. Be careful what you wish for. The regulated environment, if you think you are going to come out of this with just regulation to make sure you get paid a fair rate and nothing else, I got another thing coming to you, because a lot of times with that will be a great time to introduce towing regulations that could negatively affect your business as much as things that can help you.
Yeah, they could throw on rate caps or anything like that and take away your competitive edge almost if they do like a flat minimum across the board. This is what you can charge for each thing.
I'm more worried about other regulations, meaning your tow trucks have to be a minimum of a certain age.
Yeah, certain
You know what I
size
mean?
requirements. Yeah.
These kind of trainings that you need, size requirements for your fleet, different things like that. So, absolutely, you know, I encourage anyone that takes up arms against the insurance companies. Arms, I better put that in parentheses or something. I feel like in today's world that'll get me in trouble. But anyone's willing to take the fight to the insurance company, I applaud you. I wish you the luck with it, and I'll be curious to follow up with the story and see what comes of this. I tried looking up what the towing rates for insurance were in South Africa to be able to get some sort of reference. Not that I know what their operating costs are, their land taxes, any of that, that we could actually properly calculate a fair rate. But I wasn't able to come up with anything.
So if you are listening to us from South Africa,
absolutely
reach out. Let us know. Let us know what kind of fight you're fighting, and if we've got any insight from what's happened over on this side of the pond, we can let you know, right? But I find these insurance companies, we're not trying to be nice, right? They're not trying to be nice to us. We're not trying to be nice to them. If you think about the people in your town with the shops that you deal with, you're on like a mutual basis to where if I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine, and we'll just take care of each other. Between towers and insurance companies, it's not like that. And with most customers and most businesses, it's like that, where I'll do this for you and I'll get a promotional offer back and stuff like that. But we don't have anything like that. So it's, I'm always out to get you and you're always out to get me. And it's just it's not a good basis to do business on. It really isn't, because we get into situations like this to where one side feels like it's been treated very unfairly and they got to fight back, and fight back is going on strike or no longer dealing with that company. And it's not good for anyone. It's not good for the industry.
We're seeing it in the States with a roadside company that seems to be not paying drivers, right? And the drivers are finally fighting back. And unfortunately, it's come after they've lost, you know, hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars to a roadside that refused to pay them. I've just checked our stats all time to see if we have any listeners in South Africa. We have had one download in all of our episodes from South Africa. So look out. Those numbers are going through the roof. We're going to take off in South Africa after this episode.
Oh, we're listening to those Canucks over there in Canada.
In Canada. They're slightly more than our listeners in Guatemala.
Wow. But that is just the audio side. That's not the YouTube side. I'd have to go into the back end of that and try to pull out pieces, figure that out.
That is fair. That is fair. So anyways, keep up the good fight down there in South Africa, and we'll try and check in a little later on with that.
Yes. Keep your stick on the ice.
Keep your stick on the ice. I mean, it's fair. It's fair.
Who knows?
Oh, speaking of stick on the ice, summer's here. Hockey's over. Well, hockey's still on. The playoffs are still on. Most of you Americans, I don't know if you're watching. I mean, you dominate the NHL lately, so you should be watching. We did lose a Canadian team. Thank God we lost the Leafs. Is all.
Come on, you might be shooing off half of our listeners right now.
You know what? We do have big numbers.
Hockey's worse than politics right now. Just shut up, man.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a tow truck driver with a mic and a platform or a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
There, I've said it live. Come at me.
I'm going to have to cut that part out.
You can find me at thetowinglife@gmail.com.
I had no part.
She's trying to save our numbers. They know. Leafs fans know what they are. It's okay.
It's only 50%. Don't take me down with this burden ship.
So speaking of that, we are starting to roll into the summertime. That is a sign of it. When playoff hockey starts, summer is almost here. And you put a pretty good question forward. And what is better about the towing industry in the summer than the winter?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I know you're dead against it, and you have a very good point. In the winter, you can put more layers on. In the summer, you can only take off so many layers until you become
Inappropriate? Me too?
Yes, inappropriate. Yeah,
Canceled?
yes, that too. Like your customers will complain. I get it, but I prefer the summertime because you get all those RVs and you get the motorcycles and you get to go out and you get to do better things, and you still get the occasional lunch out. At least I do in my area. I'm not hopping in ditches every day to pull out cars, which is kind of a negative, but
You're telling me you would rather a winch out in the summertime than the wintertime?
oh yeah.
Really? You'd rather
Yep.
mud to
Yep.
snow ditch?
I'd much rather mud.
Oh man, maybe it's just this time of year that's got me down and out. But like this time of year, it's just
This time of the year, just the last couple of weeks when it was still cold and windy, but it wasn't like we didn't have any snow. I was getting real down in the dumps. It's a sad seasonal depression.
Talk about every year.
whatever it is.
This time in the fall, you always get that driver burnout.
And it's
angry,
like,
cranky.
why am I doing this? And you always contemplate it. And then the nice weather comes out and you can put your window down and drive with that arm out the window, one hand on the wheel, looking like a badass, going down the road with your big RV on the back or whatever you're towing. You're towing a nice sports car, whatever the case may be. And you're like, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. You get to go on those nice long road trips, do a 200-kilometer tow or 160-mile tow, whatever the case may be. And it's just nice. You get to sit back and you get to relax.
You're gonna hear it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Summers are for rookies. It is just toes. It is just toes. They just go farther. It's just nothing but toes. Wintertime, when you're slugging it on the side of the roads through the slush, when you're getting those rollovers out of the, you know what I mean, the snow or some of these weird things, I believe summers are for rookies. You poor Florida tow truck operators that don't actually have winter. I mean, I don't know what you do all year. I couldn't do it. Winter is like my mix-up. Like when you first see that first snowfall, I'm stoked for the year.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm stoked when the snow starts.
Could you imagine though? The snow's never coming.
No.
Like you're down in Florida. You've got crazies on every corner, as the news articles say. And you never get to go, ooh, there's a winter storm coming. A winter storm is what? 20 degrees and overcast that day? Is that a winter storm for you Florida guys where it rains?
Well, 20 degrees for them would be below freezing.
I guess they have like a hurricane. I mean, they got their storms.
Yeah, they get the flood damage and cars stuck up against buildings because they got carried away by the current. Don't get me wrong. Those people in Florida have a completely different job than what we do up here.
That's fair. I feel bad. I'm just shitting on every demographic. Toronto. Now, Florida. I'm just picking my geographical states. Idaho, you're next.
What about Utah?
I'm coming for Utah. If I could point out Utah on a map, I'd be coming for them.
But I always get asked this question is, oh, what do you prefer, winter or summer? By customers, right? And I always tell them I have to work harder for my money in the wintertime. I love winter, but I have to work harder for it.
You work harder to make more. It's
yes,
the same amount of work per dollar.
It really depends on the company and geographic that you're in. It really does. For me personally, I like the summertime because you get a truck towing a house trailer that breaks down. Well, either you're doing both at the same time, getting paid double with the roadside, or you're getting paid real well to tow it privately, or B, it's taking two trucks and it's going way out there, right? It might leave a couple guys in town running off their feet doing boosts and unlocks and local tows and whatnot, but your trucks are gone longer. I find in the winter, a lot more people are wanting to stay local. There's less tourists, there's less people traveling, so you're not getting those long tows. And yes, you're doing more because you're doing more wind chutes and stuff like that. And the call volume's higher, definitely in the wintertime, at least for me. But I don't know. I find that you can also do the same amount of sitting around in the winter.
Yeah, and depending on the winter, we have seen. I mean, we haven't stopped. We haven't stopped since I don't.
See, you haven't, but I have.
Yeah, no, we haven't. But and that's the difference, right? With the diversity on different things. You know, summertime is here, so we do a lot of office trailers for construction companies. They're moving those around. C-can sheds, all that kind of stuff is coming in. Sheds suck. C-cans I can live with. Our Landau guy who does 40-footers will tell you he could definitely do without them. Sheds are never fun. I'm not a fan of sheds.
Yeah.
But they're, a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Because they do keep you busy. There's all these kind of things, right? This is the big time of year. You know what I towed the other day? Actually, I never told you this. This was yesterday, I believe.
What'd you tow?
I should have got a photo. I never did. I got myself one of them electric tricycles. So they're like the electric scooter, but they're a tricycle.
Oh, for the drunk who still keeps on drinking and can't maintain balance?
No, this poor old man. This was a
Well, I feel like shit
90-year-old
now.
man who rode it to the hospital because it was sunny when he started. And it was pouring rain, and then it wouldn't start. It's electric. It turned on, it showed power, but wouldn't go anywhere. So he's figured, I got to get a ride home. Barely could get up into the flatbed. And it was a good old one strapper. I put it on, took my recovery strap, wrapped it on the brake handle so it'd stay in place. Lifted the bed up, threw a strap over the foot tray, and away we went. Brought him to his house, pushed it in to the building, into the elevator with him, hit the up, and realized, son of a gun, he didn't pay me.
Oh, no.
The elevator door closed, and I went, wait a second. I didn't get paid yet.
I can just picture you running up the stairs trying to figure out what floor he's on.
It was like, you have a great day, and the elevator door closes, and I just sat there. Wait a second.
I'm missing part of this equation.
Yeah, I was so worried about helping this guy get a scooter into the elevator that I forgot to charge him. He was a nice old man. We'll rock it up his towing experience.
I boosted the same lady twice today. One of my coworkers boosted her yesterday. Yeah, twice today. And he boosted her yesterday, said, let her run for 20 minutes. She did. She turned it off. She went out 2 hours later, started right up, came home, started it this morning, wouldn't start. So I show up, I boosted her. I say, you probably got a dead cell in your battery. These are your options.
A hole in a charge.
Right? Let it run for at least 30 minutes. So hopefully you got enough juice to start it again later on this afternoon when you go out, because obviously it did it yesterday. It might do it today, but I can't make any promises. And I gave her keys. I left her car running. It was in the garage. I told her to back it out. She left it in with 2 doors up. Whatever. Well, apparently the car, it was a 2016 Ford Edge, shuts off by itself at the keys outside of the car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it ran for about 10 minutes and shut off.
And wouldn't start again.
All
right, here's a question for you. We've ran into this before, right? Where, customer thinks it's an alternator, it's a starter, whatever it is, you get there, you end up boosting it.
Mm-hmm.
Most booster packs have a voltmeter on them. Yep. So it's a great way you can make sure the alternator is putting out 14 volts.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's say you get called there for a tow. You end up getting it going with a boost. And then they call you back, let's say 25 minutes later, that they now need a tow because even though their alternator was charging at the time or whatever the case is, suddenly the car won't start. You give a reduced rate on that?
No.
Why not? They wanted you to tow it in the first place.
Oh, they wanted me to tow it?
If they wanted you to tow it in the first place and you got it going with a boost and assured them that it was going to be okay because everything pointed that it was going to be okay, meaning, alternator's at 14 volts. Yeah. Everything's running fine. Belts are good. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing you can see here other than they left the door open, whatever it is, right? The infamous door that you'll never find out if it was actually left open because they closed it when they got in the car.
Yeah.
And they call you back and all of a sudden now it died. Or they shut it off. They waited 15 minutes, 20 minutes, shut it off. It won't start again. You give them a deal?
Well, I'm going to show back up. I'm going to boost the car if it's safe to drive. Hopefully they're going in town. I'll follow them over to the shop. And I'd probably just charge them a service call fee, not a tow, if they can drive it.
But you are charging them again.
Well, yeah, I got to roll a truck back out there.
You wouldn't have had to if the customer would have been right from the beginning.
Well, that's the thing is when I normally get a car going, I say, okay, it's running. Would you still like me to tow it or are you good? Right? I always leave that up to them. I did.
You never talked that customer into just taking the boost because you got another call waiting or something that you're trying to get to. And
trust me, I've reassured people. Like
you've sold some confidence.
There was a BMW all-wheel drive. In the comments, it was comment for it was member requests pickup, not a bed. It's like that's weird. Anyways, I get out there. Turns out he had a previous experience with a flatbed operator who said, "Oh no, this can't be towed on a bed." It just can't be towed on the bed because the key was stuck in the ignition and there's a neutral switch in the column. Anyways, so I get there and I asked him what was going on. He was like, well, I got here, I turned the car off and it won't start. It's like, okay. He was an older gentleman. He had me on recording the whole time, which was kind of weird.
Recording you?
Yeah, he recorded me the whole time. I think he was more so to get what I was saying. So I started and I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can get it going. Pop the hood, put my battery pack on it, reading 2 volts. That's not good. That's a no-no. There needs to be a 1 in front of there. And so I turn the pack on and I start the car, fires right up. And he was like, oh, well, I just had a new alternator in. I was like, well, your alternator's fine. It's putting out 14 volts. Let it run for 10 minutes. I stood there and I talked to him, trying to figure out what could be wrong with this car. Turn my pack off, still charging at 14 volts. Turn the car off, and the same click. Not a turnover, nothing. I was like, well, your battery's obviously not getting charged at all. And he's like, well, I had it load tested 2 weeks ago. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's the guy with the flat tire. It said the tire had air in it this morning.
Yeah. I was like, well, it's either, I know this year, I know some of these BMWs, and I was being very vague. I was like, I know some of these BMWs, if you change the battery, it needs to be programmed into the car. I'm not sure if it's.
Does it?
Yeah. Some of them do.
Yeah. I call bullshit.
Well, I've seen videos of it.
You correct this. If you have found a BMW, you're saying?
BMW.
A BMW battery that when you replace the battery has to be programmed to the car?
Yes, because it won't take a charge properly. Apparently.
No.
Yes.
I believe it's BMW. God knows.
I saw it and I backed it up. I went on Google. I searched it up and I saw it. I just can't remember the years of it. It was one of the M
series. You found it on the internet, so it's true. I got G on this one.
I found it on the internet, and then I found it somewhere else on the internet. So I was doing my research. I was doing my due diligence.
I found it in 2 separate Google searches that went to the same website.
So I told him this. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, you take it back to your shop. The guy changed the alternator on you 2 days ago, but I honestly don't know what to tell you.
So we're thinking maybe the alternator needs to be reprogrammed too?
No, I told him the alternator's
how
good.
do you program the tires?
What, the TPS sensors?
Well, fair enough.
There you go.
I was going with the rubber.
Oh, well, you balance that.
No.
Balance the grand.
Anyways, we're off topic. Okay, so you told him to go back to his mechanic.
Yeah, he wanted to tow back to his mechanic, and I asked him, I was like, are you okay with driving it? And he's like, well, is it going to stay running? And I pointed to the car and was like, it's been running by itself with my pack off for the last 20 minutes now. It's not going to die.
Until he puts it in drive and gets some load on it. Blech.
Well, I followed him out of the driveway. He went that way and I went the other way, and I never heard from him again.
You get charged double if you can't see my taillights anymore. I had a guy today that I towed with an overheated car on the side of the road. And as I'm getting back up in my truck, this reminds me of how much of a dick is TowManG from a couple weeks ago, which we don't have one loaded up for this week. It could have been that exact situation about do you charge them had I thought about this ahead of time.
Yeah. Nice plan.
But I go to get in my truck, and as I'm climbing up into the truck, before I even got in, I could smell a cigarette. Oh, that's weird. And I look up, and the guy, I see him as I'm getting in. It's this old guy again, old Italian guy, and he's throwing his cigarette out the window. And he goes, yeah, in my tow truck. And he goes to me and he goes, I haven't been in a tow truck in about 50 years or something like that, which I don't know if the numbers add up. But the first thing I said to him, I'm like, well, things have changed since you have, and I would recommend asking before you smoke in somebody's vehicle. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. We talked about that before on what would you do if? Yeah. And or somebody let up a smoke or whatever. I think we talked about maybe even possibly drugs. Yeah. But I've never actually had it. I have had people, hey, can we smoke in here? I've had, that kind of thing. But I literally was loading his car. Never noticed that he had the window down. I was loading up his car, and then I got back in the truck. And as I opened the door, I got the whiff. I was like, huh. And then I hop in, and I see his window down, his hand out the window, and he's throwing it out the window. And I go, you son of a. Yeah. So yeah, I kindly told him that things have changed since the last time he got a tow. I don't know what year he's still living in, but in 2022, you should probably ask.
I would have just thrown right up all over him.
Just
threw up.
If I could just do that on demand, I would work a lot less shifts.
Well,
I could just
I used to
randomly
smoke. I used to smoke 2 packs a day. It's not good for you. I don't recommend it. Don't
he
do it,
sits
kid.
there with the vape in his hand like a complete
No,
hypocrite.
this is stopping me from smoking 2 packs a day of cigarettes, right?
Popcorn lung is going to save you from the bad effects of tobacco.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel better vaping that than I did smoking. I don't wake up coughing. I've got more energy, which is still lackluster, but I have more energy than when I was smoking. Anywho, that's besides the point. I used to smoke. Now I don't. And now I can't stand the smell of it. It makes me sick to the point where if I show up on a call and someone's having a cigarette, I ask them to stand back because it makes me nauseous. So if I get
Really?
into my vehicle that does not smell like cigarette smoke anymore and I get a big waft of it up my nose, guess what's going to happen?
Blah.
Guess which way I'm facing.
Yeah,
They're loud.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't have that problem. I will neither disclose nor not
And I would still
disclose
charge him a cleanup fee
and
because
charge him the cleanup fee because up yours, you didn't ask me. That'll be next week's. How much of a dick is TowManG? Would you willingly and voluntarily throw up on a customer?
10 out of 10 on that one.
Because they did something. Yeah, that's a quick way to a 10 on the. I don't know what our scale is. It might go up to 50. We're gonna have to readjust it for that one.
Hey,
But back to the original topic at hand. What is better about the towing industry in the summer rather
I
than the
forgot
winter?
we talked about that.
You are right in saying the road trips, the longer trips, which honestly I don't enjoy as much as I used to. I used to love long. I just wanted long runs. I don't as much anymore. I don't know. I find I feel more tired coming back from a 3-hour round trip than if I would have just slugged dollies or just been doing calls all day in town for 3 hours. I don't know what it is. It's the mind numbingness of it. It's listening to podcasts all day. What a terrible way to fill a day.
Way to self-promote, man.
I know, right? Really just
Are you trying to run us into the ground here?
I'm seeing how hard of a cliff we can go off. My belief is that the less that we actually care about the success, the more we have fun doing this, the better it's going to be. So if that means riding it off a cliff, then let's have a good time.
Oh, do you do the same thing with maintenance with your tow trucks?
No.
That's
No, the maintenance is finally caught up on 90% of the fleet after
because it's
winter.
Summertime, right?
You ask my wife, she probably says I do that with our relationship.
Yeah, I saw that you went out for dinner a couple times in the last couple of weeks.
I went out for dinner No, I was gone away for a weekend.
Yeah, that was it.
That's where I caught COVID. Pretty sure I went to the big city and got the vid. But yeah, no, that was a great time. That was away from tow trucks, away from work, away from a work phone. I left my work phone in the hotel room. I would check it when we'd come home back because we were gone all day. I'd check it at the end of the day just to see what I missed, catch up on a couple calls, but for the most part during the day,
you need that time away.
Oh, absolutely. Lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah.
Lie, cheat, and steal. I do have good news. I wasn't sure if I was going to say it weeks ago. If you guys do remember, Mr. PlainGuy went on quite the rant. He was shitting on a product, backpullhitches.com. You can find the product. I have received. So after this episode, I reached out personally. I don't know if he knew it was personally at the time, to backpull hitches because I did feel that I did go pretty hard in the paint on them.
You did.
I shit pretty hard on
Once again, 50-50, man.
Yeah, I know you were pretty easy going about it. I went pretty hard. So I reached out to him because I think it's fair. And I asked him if there's anything that I got wrong or anything that he would like to say, give him an opportunity at least, because they didn't have a chance to defend themselves when I just shit on them.
Yep.
And so I can't remember his name now, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. Was kind enough. What he did is he sent us down a backpull hitch to test. So I have received the hitch. I have not had a chance to play around or test anything in the yard. Maybe I end up eating pro on this. Stay tuned to the next couple episodes to find out. The first thing I'll say is when I did undo the packaging, first of all, he was very pleasant to deal with, amazingly professional, fairly quick with the shipping, considering it's coming out of Louisiana, I want to say.
His name's Kevin.
Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, from Backpull Hitches. And I have to admit, at first impression, when I took it out of the box, it is, first of all, it's heavy as all can be, but it does seem pretty sturdy. Now,
Mm.
my argument was never the product itself.
Yeah.
My argument was the method in which it was used to tow a vehicle. So I will be doing testing over the next couple weeks. I will come back to you guys anytime I talk shit on something like the ball dog, like the back pull hitch, like any of those. I will use them, and I have on previous products. So appreciate it, Kevin. Stay tuned, guys. There will be more episodes coming. You guys need to get on YouTube, get on Facebook, and tell G he needs to come down and do the video while we do the testing. Tell him to get his pieces of truck back together and tuned up, as he criticized my fleet, and come down and do the video for it, because I'm gonna test everything and I will hopefully try and record.
Look at me running trucks, man. You'll have me out running the roads and one of your wreckers, just
we're
like
too busy.
that.
We're too busy. We need that more. But no, we're gonna get some testing on it. I want to try and get some video on it for you guys so that you can see different things. It might not come out. We'll do a full review on an episode, but little videos of stuff might come out individually on the Facebook page.
You see, products like that is perfect for shunting, right?
Not really. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
It is, especially if you
see where you're going.
Right? You slide it into the hitch, you pick it up, and you shove it into the shop. That's what a shunt is to me. It's a lot to the shop.
Yeah, a lot to shop.
Yep, a lot to shop. I call it a shunt. I'm not sure if you guys call it a shunt.
That's pretty. Yeah, we've called it shunts on heavies. It's we don't really call it shunts on lights, but
I don't know, something like that. It's quick, it's easy, as long as it's safe and secure. Go ahead, because I don't know. I don't care how good of a wrecker driver or flatbed driver you are. If you're picking something up and you're moving at 8 feet, I doubt you're doing your full 100% hookup. I really do doubt it.
Oh, 100% not.
Right?
If you're a wrecker driver, you're not doing your full hookup.
No, I'm not double wrapping my safety chain.
Yeah, you're not even putting safety chains if you're in the yard.
No.
Are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was going to say, so you're full of shit.
If flatbed's one, maybe two straps, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, leave it on an angle. Put a safety chain on the front.
Right? Because shunts are quick and easy and they're not money makers, right? So you want to be in and out as quickly as possible and still do your job safely and efficiently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you guys charging for shunts? To literally pick a car up and shove it into a shop, right? What kind of truck?
I'd be curious to see that. Absolutely. You can reach out to us on the YouTube video. You can comment down below or find us on Facebook. All the good spots, Facebook, email. We both clicked at the same time, I think.
I did not.
Okay.
You're going crazy.
The towinglife@gmail.com, at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook. I'd be curious that. What are you charging for lot shops or shunts, whatever you call them? Or do you have a different name for them? I want to hear another name.
Yeah, I like the names. I went to my dispatcher and I said, yeah, bill them this much for the shunt. And she was like, what? What did you just tell me to do?
What'd you call me?
Because I took that word from a different company and no one at the company I work for now knew what a shunt was. And I said, lot the shop, and she still didn't know. But
yeah, see, on the heavy side, I'm not super familiar. I know we do one for other garages, and there's still enough work that goes into a heavy shunt.
Yeah,
right. It's not as simple as a shop. A lot of times, it's body shops that are calling you for them because most shops they'll push it in. Right, they'll put it neutral, push it in. Body shops, vehicles there tend to be, most garages are smart. And if you're checking with your garages and you come in with a busted ball joint, they're not having you leave it in the yard. They're putting it inside right away to avoid a charge again.
And that's normally if I've got something that doesn't roll, I always make sure I go in and say, hey, I've got this, doesn't start, doesn't roll, it's locked in park, whatever the case may be.
I got anything that doesn't run. Yes, I go in and check with the shop. Normally, if you know your shop, you know what I mean? They'll tell you right away, put it facing a door, straight in, whatever the case is. But yeah, no, if it's got a broken ball joint or body shops, I know for body shops, a lot of times you can, again, for what you're going to get from work from them when they get you to go pick up those accident tows, right? That are being put through the insurance and the body shop contacts you directly to bring them a car. Hey, sometimes throwing in that freebie here and there for the body shops, especially, isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not kickbacks. It's not any of that stuff that's going on in Toronto.
One business helping out another business.
Yeah, in exchange for help in the business in the long run, right? It's what comes around goes around. So if you can do a good deed, you'll get a good deed brought back to you.
Are you getting cash up front?
No. As crazy as the world as it is, I very rarely get cash up front. unless I suspect something, right? We've talked about that before. Unless you suspect that you're not going to get paid, and I will get burned eventually, and I will call it the price of being a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, from a management side of things, I'd call it the price of stupidity. And I don't know what I would do if one of my guys came to me with that same situation. I'd trust them to say, hey, you used your judgment, you got burned.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do it again.
Yeah.
But no, I'm charging them, but no, not cash up front, especially not for a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. If it's the crackhead down the road with his in the driveway garage, I'm probably charging cash up front.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're changing tires and slinging crack on the side, probably charging cash up front.
Yeah. But I find,
Other than that,
like,
no.
I did a shunt for one of the local shops that I personally always dealt with, and it was a BMW X5 locked in park, but the steering wheel was unlocked. So I was like, okay. I picked up the ass end and I just extended my wheel lift out and I brought it in. It was like the front tires roll, even though it's in park. So I found out you can move a BMW X5. Not sure of the year. Don't try this at home. Not a liability slip. And I shoved it into the shop with the front tires on the ground.
Mm.
It worked fine for me.
I always love that when the front tires on the ground, guys steer it in when you get into tight shops.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I was
A
towing
weird
limos
feeling.
the other day, and there was a bunch of limos that had to be moved from back of this one shop over to the back of this other shop where there was a big pile of wood that was blocking them all in. And it was a real tight swing to get them in, and I had a flatbed coming in with two more. So I had to come in on a 45 and I cranked the steering wheel in the Cadillac limousine that I was towing, and the whole vehicle just moves sideways, and I got it like parallel parked, like mirror to mirror to the next one beside it. It was awesome. I loved it.
G doing fancy things with overlength.
Yeah.
That'll be the topic of our next show.
Me overlength? Ooh.
G G doing fancy things.
Fancy things with
Fancy
length.
things. This show has gone completely off the rails. Listeners, I apologize. I apologize for the
I hope you're
ridiculousness
laughing
of my
along with
co-host.
us and not angry.
I think this has been a great episode when it comes to having a time and laughing around. And yeah, if the mechanic has less teeth than the car has wheels, I'm charging cash up front.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say lugs.
No, you can have oh man, I had to do that math. You can have 20 lug nuts on a car. If he's got less than 20 teeth. I might have less than 20 teeth. I don't
think
know.
you start with like 26.
It's gonna be the intro to next week's show. 1, 2, 3. Count my
I
teeth.
think it's easier to do a Google search, my friend. I think it's
That's
easier.
probably right. That's probably fair. How many teeth do we have? We did that one time. We found out MyScape was my what was that?
MySpace?
MySpace is still a thing.
Yeah, we did.
How
We're
many
like, we should
teeth?
start up a MySpace account. And
How
you
many teeth
Googled it
do I
right
have?
then and there. We need a producer.
As a baby, you have 20. As an adult, you should have 32. Where the hell did the other 12 come from?
What?
I knew, like, I knew about the wisdom teeth, which
Yeah,
I've
that's an
got.
extra
I've
4.
got. Yeah, there's math adding up, missing somewhere. We got more teeth. That is a fact I did not want to know.
We're
I have a
nice
coworker, and
boys.
we were talking about. It's gonna go off topic. We were talking about kosher the other day. I didn't know much about kosher. I will be the first person to admit
What's
that
a
I'm
kosher?
culture. Okay, I don't want to get into this because
Okay.
it's religious.
Okay.
Anyways, on topics of weird things to look up what a pig's foot looks like if you've never looked at a pig's foot.
I know.
I'm
what
sure
pig's
there's a
foot
couple
looks like.
tow operators in Louisiana that are going, I know what a pig's foot looks like. But I didn't until I looked at one and it was disturbing. So that is the fun fact that I will leave you on this week is go Google what a pig's foot actually looks like. And for some reason, I had a different vision in my head. So on that note, G.
No, we need to watch one video. And
We didn't get to any of the stupid videos.
We gotta watch one video, at least one video.
All right, I'll let you pick number 1 to 4. You can see them down at the bottom of the screen. We're going to play one stupid video for the listeners, viewers over on the YouTube side. On the audio side, we'll give you a description of what's going on.
Okay, this one. I want to play this one. It's not the bike
I can't
one.
see
but
where your mouse is. Okay, so when you send the rookie to an easy relocate, if you haven't seen this video on the towing groups, how?
It's nuts to butts.
Nuts to butts, literally. First question is how?
Yeah. The nose of the flatbed's in a garage, and the
That the truck doesn't
back
fit
of the
in.
bed to the tailgate of the truck is like three feet,
3 feet.
and the nose to the truck is to a wall that was like 6 inches.
Okay, 2 questions. One, we'll give the proper TikTok credit. Tow Office Life. Hey, they like the towing life, but not as cool.
Just
First
office.
question: how?
Yes.
The maneuver job this flatbed operator did to get into this tight space, phenomenal.
Yeah.
The second question is, what's next?
Yeah, because the wheels of the pickup truck are up against the curb and you can't go back at all.
Yeah.
And you got to come back to get the nose of your bed out of the garage.
That didn't make sense, but yes, you need to pull forward so you can actually get your bed down to get underneath that truck. So the bed's not an
Unless he's
option.
grabbing it with the wheel lift.
But even if he does, then what?
Yeah. Yeah, you're still...
If he was going to grab that with the wheel lift, you hit it on a 45. You don't 70. This looks like the little tug from Austin Powers in the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's his plan?
Yeah.
It's
Doing an Austin
impressive.
Powers turn.
I'd like to know what the outcome of this was. And it's a big F-250. It's no at least F-250. It could be an F-350. I can't tell. So the first question is how. Second question is what now? Like, what's your plan? You made a TikTok and now you're stuck.
Well, they've got the other truck there, so I think what they're going to do is slide the ass end of the Ford over. That's why, which is kind of counterproductive. Why did you get your truck
there?
there?
Another
in the first
truck in
place?
the video that I didn't see?
Yeah, right at the beginning. Here, I'll just right there. See, wheel lift right there on the left.
Yeah. But so what did this guy do? He maneuvered in and then realized, shit, I can't hook up to it. Called the second truck, and now the second truck is kind of maybe he was boxing him in. Maybe it's a private parking. I mean, there's easier ways to box them in.
Yeah.
You could have just parked across, but rookies do weird things. Hey, and bicyclists do stupid things.
Yeah, bicyclist riding his bike through an active work zone and gets clotheslined by the winch line.
Bicycle, not motorcycle. Do not keep playing videos. Bicycle, not motorcycle. We will get into that one next week if I remember, because I want to talk about establishing a work zone, especially when it comes to the stupid public around us. So that being said,
just to wet your whistle for next week.
Just to wet your whistle for next week. That being said, G, are you good if I tell you to take us out now?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you guys for being here. Hopefully you had a couple of laughs. I know we laughed while making this. So hopefully you've enjoyed. With that said, we'll see you next Tuesday. Toodles.
Take care.
Gotta limber up for all this exercise coming up. Gotta carry the show tonight.
Oh, I'm gonna call you Backpack. You're always getting carried. This is my host. This is my co-host, Backpack.